All right, everyone, welcome into the video. In this video, we're going to be covering the exact Instagram DM script that's booked 538 calls and generated 375,497.08 cents for one client. Okay, so these results are not an accumulation of like 5 or 10 clients put together. This is just for one client. So it's a pretty cool case study. If you don't know who I am, my name is Ben Melly. I'm the founder of Scaling Club. We grow and monetize personal brands on Instagram. But in this video, we're just going to be particularly talking about the setting side of things. So how do you actually set appointments from Instagram? Now, this video says it's going to be about the Instagram DM script, okay? But it's actually so much more than that, okay? So this document that I'm going to show you today is a 60-page document. It includes the script, okay? So I'm going to give you the word-for-word script we use to book appointments, but it also includes live conversation examples, so conversations we've actually had on Instagram that clients we've closed. And it goes into principles of setting. It goes into the follow-up process we use, the calendar setup, the pre-call follow-ups, everything you need to actually book and close deals from Instagram. So before I jump into this document, I want to quickly, in less than 60 seconds, show you some proof that we actually did this. Okay, so instead of showing you some screenshots or shady testimonial videos, I'm just going to literally show you our back-end tracking system for this client. So if we come over here and look at our sales tracking sheet right here, you can see we have a bunch of calls booked, and these are all coming from Instagram, one from Facebook here, Instagram. This is just one sheet. We've got a lot of these sheets, okay? Another one right here, and we've got our new tracking sheet over here, okay? You can see all these calls coming from IGDM. And then when we add all this up in our master tracking sheet for our clients, which we have for every client, you can see we've booked 538 calls here from Instagram alone. Also, in case you're wondering, these aren't just tire kicker leads either, okay? So this script that I'm going to show you does the qualifying for you, so you only get highly qualified leads booked into your calendar. So if we hop back into our new sales tracking sheet right here, you can see these are some of the recent calls we've taken, okay? So this person was earning $100,000 to $250,000 a year, $100,000 to $250,000 a year, $100,000 to $250,000 a year, $80,000 to $100,000, $80,000 to $100,000, $100,000 to $250,000, $250,000 to $500,000 a year, $250,000 to $500,000 a year. So the leads we get booked in from Instagram are extremely qualified. You can see both these high earners here were actually closed deals for 9,000 US. So extremely qualified leads. And the second stat I want to show you here is 375,497. So we have a master tracking sheet internally for all our clients. And as you can see here, total revenue for this client is this, and then the total cash collected is 307,609, okay, because we have some payment plans coming in as well. Now, the second question you might have is, Ben, that's cool, but did you have millions of followers to start with? Nope. So we did all this with less than 30,000 followers on Instagram. You can see right here, this is our current follower count. In fact, we did all this starting with zero presence or history online at all. So we had no YouTube channel at all, no publications, no Forbes, no Fox News, no flexing. We didn't post a picture of a Lamborghini once. I'm not against that. It's just we didn't have to do it. And we had never, ever sold this offer on Instagram before. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And also, there's some very exciting news. We started from ground zero, 233 followers, and we were booking calls and closing deals at every stage. So if you're someone that's watching this now and you've got like 1,000 followers and you're thinking, oh, I can't close deals, I can't make a lot of money from Instagram yet, you absolutely can. And if you're someone watching this who has 1 million followers or 2 million followers, then this should really inspire you because you can definitely do it. Okay, so you can see right here in August, we had 233 followers. This is a screenshot we had here. And in that month, we contracted $27,000 in revenue and cash collected just under $12,000 with this follower count. Okay, pretty insane. Also, in November, you can see here's our Social Blade stats for this account. We grew it to 5,600 followers, 27,000 in rev, and then 24,000 in cash collected, combined between payment plans and new cash collected. And then in February, we had just under 14,000 followers, 65K in rev, 55 in cash collected. Okay, so you can do this at any stage, no matter where your following's at. So with that out of the way, if you are a business owner who books calls to sell your offer, you're a service provider, coach, consultant, do yourself and your business a massive favor and lock in with me here for the next 45 to 60 minutes. I'll try to keep this video under 60 minutes long, but it's going to be very, very detailed. So close out your other tabs, grab a notepad, because I guarantee you that if you apply everything inside this video today, you will make a lot more money, you'll book a lot more calls, and you'll experience a lot more consistency. Okay, so with all that out of the way, let's get into what we're going to cover. One is an overview of the setting process, so the 6 non-negotiable steps every setting process needs, the green and red flag system we use for our clients to identify good prospects and bad prospects early on in the conversation, and some common pitfalls to avoid. I guarantee you a lot of you are making these right now. The second thing we're going to cover is the word-for-word script we use to book all these calls. The third thing we're going to do is give you some live examples of conversations from our CRM, so actual conversations that we closed. And then the bonuses, we're going to give you the follow-up script, how to deal with unqualified leads, calendar setup, post-booking process, so much more. Plus, at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how you can get this entire document for free, no email opt-in. So you can get this entire document completely for free, okay? So let's jump into the very first part of this video, which is going to be an overview of the setting process. So the 6 non-negotiable steps. Now we need to start here first because we need to start with the principles, because the principles can be applied universally. If I just gave you guys an exact word-for-word script and then you went and copied it in your market and your niche, it wouldn't work. You need to understand the principles behind why it works. So there's 6 non-negotiable steps we take every prospect through. 1 is motivation, 2 is location and occupation, 3 is goal, 4 is pain, and then 5 and 6, we offer the call, send calendar. And this is just a little internal diagram that we give when we're training our setters, okay? And these will all make a lot more sense as we go through this. The mindset shift that you must adopt right now is a lot of people fall into the trap of thinking that the DM conversation is all about making friends and building rapport. In reality, it's closer to a screening process. Okay, rapport is important, coming across as likable is important, but when you're marketing correctly, you'll be getting a lot of attention at the top of your funnel coming in, and the purpose of a setting process is to be a machine that filters out waste and spits out highly qualified booked calls at the end. And the earlier you filter in your marketing process, the better, okay? I'm not going to go into this in too much depth. I'll make a separate video on why this is the case, but you don't want to be waiting until you get on a sales call with someone to discover if they're qualified or not, okay? You want to be having that information discovered long before you even continue the conversation, because it's going to save you a lot of time. And then when you go to hire a sales team in the future, it's going to make the process 100 times easier, okay? So you want to start the qualification as early as possible. Now, our green and red flag system. So this is the system we developed internally so our setters can easily identify ideal prospects and prospects that are most likely not a fit. Now, some of these are universal principles that can be applied to any niche, any industry, any ideal client. But for others, you have to actually customize them. You know, you have to actually put some work in to customize them for your ideal client. Okay, so I highly recommend you take 20 minutes to brainstorm a green and red flag system after you watch this video for your own business. So some red flags in conversations where we'll actually just consider ending the conversation early is if someone's in a tier 3 country. So if someone's in a country that we just don't work with, then obviously we'll end the conversation. And we have a system for ending conversations, which I'll show you at the end of this document. If someone's unemployed or in a lot of debt, our offer is quite high ticket. We work with specific people. So if this comes up in the conversation, we'll either end the conversation or we'll add an extra 1 or 2 digging questions to discover more about their situation. So maybe how much debt are you in? What were you doing before you were unemployed, et cetera, et cetera. If someone is in high school or college, so for this offer in particular, the average age of the client that we work with is 40 years old. And they're usually like a senior level professional or a business owner. So if someone says they're in high school or college, 99% of the time we'll just end the conversation. Okay. But this is one of those ones that you have to customize for yourself, because if you're selling a make money online offer and your average customer is a 19-year-old in Florida, then you obviously don't want to be disqualifying all the people who say they're in college. Okay. So you have to think about these for your own ideal client. Next is if someone's not engaging with questions. This is just a universal one. If someone's just sending one-word answers, or they're not even trying to answer the question that you're asking them, they're just skipping it, then just, ignore them. Now, here are some green flags. So this is where we start getting excited about the conversation. If someone's very responsive, so if they're replying instantly, if they're quick, if they're sending 2 or 3 messages at a time, very high intent. If someone sends long text, so if their text is like 4 to 5 times the length that we're texting them, that's a very good sign. Third is if they're doing well financially. Okay, so if they say they have a stable job, if they state they have large financial goals, such as they say, I want to earn $2 million this year, it probably means they're already earning a decent amount. If they're a business owner or management position, or if they speak about wanting to invest. So if someone says one of our goals is to buy new properties this year or invest 30% of our savings, probably a good sign they're doing well. Okay. But again, this is important for our offer because it's high ticket and we mainly work with business owners and senior level professionals who are 40 years old. So again, if you're a fitness coach or if you're a make money online offer that does work with 18-year-olds or 19-year-olds, then you have to customize this a little bit. And next is, this is universal. We have seen this work so well when we look for this, is if someone's already familiar with niche. Okay, here you insert your niche, obviously. If someone's already familiar with the ketogenic diet and you do keto, okay, it's going to be much easier to speak their language. For example, with this client, he has quite a famous mentor and we use his mentor a lot in the content that we create on Instagram. And when someone DMs us and say, hey, I also know your mentor, I'm a big fan of your mentor, how did you meet him? We already know it's going to be a great sales call. We already know they're going to book in because they're familiar with the niche. So you want to look out for that in your conversations. Is if someone's already familiar with your language, if they're familiar with maybe a big person in your industry or a way you do things, it's game over. It's really good sign. Okay. So these are what we look for. Now, those are the non-negotiable steps. Those are the green flag systems. I recommend that you take a couple of minutes just to think about this after this video. What do you want in your ideal client? What do you don't want? And incorporate that in your setting process. And the last two things before I actually get into the word for word script here is some pitfalls to avoid. Okay. So one is over customization. So don't try to create a custom process with every prospect. So don't try to be having individual processes for every single person that you DM. Okay. So this person I text 8 times, this person only texts 3 times, this person I take them through this steps, with this person it's a bit more conversational. You need to have a set structure, a set of principles like we have here that you take every single prospect through no matter what. Okay. And this way you can actually scale it. Okay. If you're trying to do different processes for every single person in your DMs, trying to set them, how can you possibly scale that? You can't. You need a set of principles and systems that you take every prospect through. Next is oversharing about yourself. This is one that I see so many times, is people will try to sell themselves in the DMs. They'll try to talk about their story, themselves all the time. And in reality, you want to do the least amount of that possible. You want to keep the conversation focused on them and the discovery process. Ideally, we want to go back here. We want the ratio to be correct. So we want their messages to be really long and ours to be really short. If you see that, you already know it's going to be a good call because they're high intent, they're looking for you, they're coming to you, and it sets the frame really nicely. So you don't need to be oversharing about yourself. If you're doing your content well on Instagram, people should already know who you are. They should already know what you're about. Okay. And then the DM process is just a nice little extra. You can, of course, mention things that would clearly build rapport, but every message you send the prospect should finish with a question that moves the conversation to the next stage. So even if they ask you a question like, where are you from? How did you get into this? Give a brief answer and then go right back to the next question. Keep it on them. Okay. So that is an overview. Those are the 3 things that you need to know. And those are some principles that you need to know about setting that are going to help you no matter your script. Now, this is the part that probably all of you have been waiting for. Okay. So even though, in my opinion, the principles are the most important part about this, everyone loves a nice template and a script. So let's get into the exact word for word script we use to book all these calls and generate all this revenue. Now, some notes, and these notes I cannot stress enough. You need to customize this to how you actually speak in real life. You cannot just copy and paste this. You cannot just sound like a robot. You cannot sound like AI because it won't work. The second thing is you need to add in small personalizations with context to the conversation. Okay. So if someone mentions that they're from Canada, you can reference that in the conversation over and over again. Okay. If they tell you their goal, reference that later in the conversation. You want to always be keeping it personalized to them as if you're having a conversation in real life. And this part right here, if in real life you use slang, if in real life you swear, use that in the conversation. Okay. It has to be you. It's a personal brand. So let's get into the 6 steps, okay, and how we actually do them in the conversation. So if you remember, the first step right here is motivation. So let's get into how we actually establish motivation first. So for some context here, there's 2 ways we start conversations on Instagram. 1 is inbound and 2 is outbound. So inbound means they're coming to us. So they message us first. Maybe it's a keyword, maybe it's just a general inbound, but they come to us. Outbound is something we do on our client accounts where we will message new followers that we get on the account. Okay, and I'll show you the message we use, but those are the two types that we have. Okay, outbound, inbound. Now, in terms of the sources, we can do organic, we do story CTAs, we do reel CTAs, and we also do comments on our reels. Okay, so for inbound sources, people can just watch our organic content, DM us, they can reply to one of our stories, they can reply to one of the CTAs, call to actions we have in the reel, or we have comment automation set up on our reels where they can comment this keyword and then we'll send them a DM. We consider comment automations inbound because they left the comment. They're still coming to us. Okay. And in terms of the inbound types, we'll either do a direct CTA where we'll say, hey, I'm looking for 5 people who want to lose X pounds in the next 90 days. DM me this keyword, and then they DM us that keyword and we'll have a conversation. Or we'll do some sort of free asset, inbound DM where we'll say, hey, I recorded this free case study that's helped XYZ clients do XYZ. DM me this keyword. Okay. So it's either a direct CTA or some sort of free asset CTA. Okay. We found that the free asset CTAs get a lot more engagement because people always like to get free things. Okay. And then in terms of the outbound types, there's only one. We'll just send them a welcome message. So this is the inbound response that we have. So we have these inbound responses set up as an auto response to keywords in our software. Okay, so we have a software we use. It's called Go High Level. That's where we use to track all our conversations and actually have the conversations. And we have automation set up that when someone DMs us a certain keyword, we have an automated response to make sure we're always there on time. Okay, so when someone DMs us a direct keyword where it's just like, hey, I'm looking for 5 people who want to work together, DM me this keyword. When we get that, we'll say this. We'll say, thanks for the message. Happy to share more about this opportunity and explore how I might be able to help. What motivated you to reach out to me today? Okay, so you can see it's super simple. Thanks for the message. What motivated you? Okay, so here, the first question we're asking is we're establishing motivation. We're sticking to the principles. If someone DMs us for the free asset, we'll say, thanks for the message. Here's the link. And then we'll include the link to the free asset. It could be a lead magnet. It could be a YouTube video, whatever it is. If you don't mind me asking, what had you interested in checking out the free training? So you can see open-ended question at the end always. What had you interested in that? What motivated you to reach out to me? Okay, we want to leave the floor open to them so they can tell us their motivation and see if we can, use any of that to continue the conversation. Or if they comment on one of our reels, we'll just say, thanks for the comment. Here's the link. What had you interested in that? Okay, so that's the inbound response. That's the first thing we do. If it's outbound, okay, this is what we say. Now, for those of you who might be thinking, outbound, I'm not sure if that's good. I'm not sure if it'll work. It absolutely does. Inbound is good, okay, but if you don't have a huge following yet, or you haven't found winning ads to get inbound DMs yet, or you just don't get enough inbounds in general, outbounds are absolutely amazing. People think you need to wait to have some big following. You don't, okay? As I went through in the beginning, we contracted 27,000 US with less than 233 followers because we just messaged them. We just had conversations. And even today, a lot of our revenue comes from outbounds. You can see here in our sheet, some of the recent sales closed, 9,000, 3,000, 1,000, cash collected. 3 out of those 4 were outbounds. So just us DMing our new followers, okay? I know this is quite small, so hopefully you can see this, but 3 out of those 4 sales were just outbounds, okay? And every single follower is a warm lead, not a fun number. It doesn't matter if you have 10 followers or 10 million, you should be trying to have a conversation with all of them because you never know who's in your following. You never know. So on our client accounts, we have a virtual assistant that sends welcome messages to every new follower we get. Okay, we send about 120 per day because if we do more than that, we found we get some problems with Instagram. And you can do this yourself, or you can just hire an assistant to do it for you like we do. So this is the message we send to everyone who follows our new page. Thanks for following my page. Just curious what made you follow, and is there anything I can help you with? So again, super casual, nothing crazy. It's just thanks for the follow. What made you follow? Just keeping it open-ended. Let's see what they tell us. Okay? And this is something we do occasionally, and this is optional. If someone doesn't reply to this first one, then we'll wait 48 hours and we'll send them a second message. And we'll say, hey, I just wanted to show my appreciation for you following my page and send you a free resource. It's a breakdown on the X formula that's generated Y for my clients. Just input your niche and your results. Here's the link. Okay? So really simple. If someone doesn't reply to this one, we'll just also send them this free training. So that way we can get their email or get them to watch some sort of video as well. So we're always trying to maximize our followers. Okay? This is optional. If you're just starting out with this, then I'd recommend just sticking with the first message, try to get a response. Easy. Now, in terms of the timing, we send 15 per hour. So we send 120 welcome messages per day. I recommend you stick to this at the start and slowly increase it, because Instagram will ban certain types of repetitive actions if they think you're a bot. And we found this to be a nice number. If we start doing more than this, sometimes we can have issues. So if you're already getting followers coming in, or you have a following list of 2,000, the first thing I would recommend you do after you get off this video is just message every single one of them. I guarantee you, if your following is actually following you about a certain topic, you can get a bunch of sales just messaging people that with this, and then use the rest of the script I'm going to give you. Okay. So that's something you should do right away if you aren't doing it. And then philosophy of thought. Okay. So this is going to be a little section I'm going to have under every single message that I give you. And it's just explaining why we do it so you can understand it. So whether it's inbound or outbound, the only thing we're asking at the beginning is an open-ended question to establish their motivation. We're looking to open the floor up for them so we can gauge their level of intent and get a glimpse into whether there's someone we can actually help. Okay. Because not everyone who follows us we can help, or they're not all qualified. So we just want to open the floor and start that screening process. All right, so the second part of this script is location and occupation. So again, we're sticking to the principles here. After we've uncovered someone's motivation, we want to then go into discover their location and occupation. So where are they based? What do they do for work? It's very important that we are screening people, okay? We need to make sure that they're the right people. So we'll say, thanks for sharing, and you can customize this, okay? This is just like a prompt. So you can customize the first line here. If they tell you something that's, cool in the motivation part, you can add it in here. So if they say, oh, I followed you because I'm a cliff diver and I just went cliff diving last week, you can say, oh, that's epic. I love cliff diving. Something like that, okay? Make it human, how you speak, all right? And then ask them, if you don't mind me asking, where are you currently based and what do you do for work/business? So this is what we do, okay? So we'll just respond to whatever they say about the motivation, and then we'll say, awesome, where are you based? What do you do for work? Okay. So here, in terms of the thought process, it's really about screening. Okay. So we ask these questions to make sure of two things. One, that they're in a tier 2 or tier 1 country. So like a high GDP country that we can actually work with. Okay. Or if they have a stable occupation. Okay. So if they have a stable occupation, then obviously they're more likely to have an income. And that's important for our setting process because, as I said, our average client is 40 years old, senior level professional. And we're looking to see if their answers reflect our target avatar. So if you only work with people in the US, you need to know this. And if you're a fitness coach that only works with senior level executive women, then obviously you need to know this, okay? So if someone says, oh, I'm based in the mountains of Uzbekistan and I'm a full-time student right now looking to get my master's degree, you can pretty much just end the conversation there, which we'll show you how to do later, okay? So that's why we ask it, part of the screening process. Very simple. Next is the goal, okay? So after we've established someone's motivation, we've established their location and occupation, we establish their goal. So we'll say, that's great, name, okay, whatever they said. What are the main goals you're looking to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months? Now, this is a fantastic question. And we've played around with the phrasing of this question a lot. But as of right now, I am in love with the way this question is. And here's why. We want to see if they're someone looking to achieve something we can actually help with, right? So we're trying to see if their goals align with our expertise. Can we actually help this person? So we put a time cap on it, 6 to 12 months, because we're looking for tangible goals. If we ask someone, oh, what's your goal in life? They might say, I don't know, to become a philosopher or write a book. But that's kind of airy-fairy. It's out there. So we ask them, what's the main goals you're looking to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months? So they give us some tangible things we can actually use. And this question may seem simple, but it's one of the most valuable steps in discovery. So let's say, for an example, you're a business coach and you help founders go from 6 figures to 7 figures a year. You could ask someone, in theory, and we've tested this before, what's your revenue right now? What do you want your revenue to be in 6 months? Or if it's a B2C offer, it can be like, what are you earning right now? How much do you want to be earning? The problem with that question is it seems a little robotic, okay? It's kind of out of the flow of conversation. It ties them down to a single word answer. So they're just going to say, I'm earning X. I want to be earning Y. And it can trigger early sales resistance. It can kind of be like, why is this person asking me this about my income and about my revenue? What are they trying to sell me? And then you just lose them, okay? I mean, imagine if you were having a conversation in real life and then someone just asked you that as like the third question. You'd be like, what's this guy doing? Okay, so We prefer to save those logical questions like these ones where you actually need to know them, like what are your revenue now? What do you want to be earning? If, for example, it's a B2B offer, we prefer to save those logistical questions for the actual booking form when they book in a call. And we keep the texting, so the DM setting process, a little bit more conversational. And this question is so good because it will give you all the information you need anyway. So, for example, you'll be able to tell by their answers. So, for example, they might say, great question, man. My main goal right now is to build out a new sales team that can handle 30 calls a day so we can scale our ads and finally get to $5 million annual recurring revenue. It's a bitch and it's starting to take time away from my family and working out too. I've been walking around with a splitting headache for a week now. You ever went through something like that? Okay. Versus another person might answer, just want to finish my degree and hopefully get promoted to assistant clerk at Walgreens in the summer. Okay. So which do you think is more qualified for this offer right here if you were someone who's helping founders go to 6 figures to 7 figures a year, right? Obviously this person right here. And the beautiful thing about phrasing this question this way is it keeps the conversation flowing. So it actually sounds natural. It's like, cool, man, what's your main goals? What is it? It allows for discovery of additional information. So because it's open-ended and you're not just asking them, what's your revenue? What's your goal revenue? It allows them to put in more information for such as this. Maybe he's got a headache. Maybe he's trying to, build a sales team. He'll also tell you his goal. He'll ask, have you ever gone through it? More rapport building. By leaving it open-ended, you actually allow for more discovery, which you can use in the conversation in the sales call. Okay. So that's why it's so beautiful. And you can also screen prospects at the same time. So, it might seem like a simple question, but trust me, when you ask it like this in a conversation, you're going to see like the floodgate open of all the information that you need. So it's really nice. The fourth thing is pain. Okay. So we've established the motivation, location, occupation. We've got their goal. Now, the last thing we like to do before we actually offer them the call is to discover the pain. So we'll say, that's a great goal, name. I'm glad you're trying to get to 5 million ARR, super ambitious. What do you feel is the biggest thing holding you back from achieving your goal of hiring 30 salespeople and getting to $5 million a year? So here you just input the goal that they told you, okay, obviously. And the reason we ask this question is because, number one, yes, it gives us information about what they're struggling with. But the real reason we ask this is to get them to self-admit there is a painful gap between where they are now and where they want to get to. So people always want to feel like they make their own decision. You never want to make it seem like you're forcing someone to buy your thing. You want to gently guide them and get them to tell us there's a problem that they can't fix alone. And this perfectly sets up the frame to offer the call after. Okay, so here we're just getting them to self-admit, yeah, there's a problem and I need a bit of help with it. And after we've completed those 4 steps, we then offer the call. So we'll say, thanks for sharing. I appreciate the honesty, name, whatever their name is. Would you like to schedule a quick 15 to 20 minute call and discuss how I can help you achieve your goal of XYZ and overcome the pain point they told us? So as you can see, we're always using this information, referencing it as the conversation progresses. And we just like to ask this question because it's one last buy-in step. It's getting them to confirm we can send them the calendar. And it also helps us frame the call as super casual so they don't feel any pressure. It's just like a quick 20-minute call, okay? And then if they say yes to that, which 99.9% of people do at this stage, we just send the calendar. Awesome, name. To save any back and forth trying to line up each other's schedules, here's my calendar. Send the calendar link. And then once you've booked in a call, just let me know, okay? So that is the entire process that we do. So as you can see, really simple, but it hits all the principles we need and it sets us up for a really, really nice discovery call. And with this one, it's pretty self-explanatory. So just as a final note, before I get into the actual live examples of conversations we had, because I know a lot of you are going to be waiting for that, it's so important you personalize this. So as I said before, for this client, you can see we use very proper language, like back and forth, trying to line up each other's schedules. Here's the calendar, these sort of things. We do this because our average client's 40 years old, and that's how my client actually speaks, okay? That's the way he likes to type. So if your average customer is a 20-year-old in Florida, use their language, use your language, okay? I've said this before, but it's so important. You cannot just go copy and paste this and expect it to work if your target market is completely different than ours, okay? So use the principles, hit all the steps, but customize it to your language. All right, so we've wrapped up the principles. We've wrapped up the exact word-for-word script. Now let's get into the part a lot of you have probably been waiting for. So I pulled about 3 or 4 conversations here from our CRM of conversations that we've actually had using this script. So I'm going to run through it and just show you what this looks like in real life. Okay, so first example here, and obviously I've blocked out the names here just for privacy reasons, but first example here, someone DMs us a keyword. So this is a reply from this is actually our bio keyword. So it says, we have in our bio, it says, DM learn for more information. And we say, perfect. So you can see the automated response fires right here. Thanks for the message. Happy to share more about this opportunity and explore how I might be able to help. What motivated you to reach out to me today? Okay. And this person says, oh, this is actually an example of just kind of going off script, but it's a pretty fun example. So I wanted to include it. So I'm a 21-year-old who's looking for a path and a life goal. I am working XYZ. I'll let you guys, you can pause the video and read it. I don't want to read the whole thing for you. And I'm sure you're packed up, but I'd love to speak with you. Okay. So this is an example. We actually just offered them the call like right away. Normally we don't do that, but this person had such high intent, okay, that we just wanted to see what it was about. So we just offered the call right away, and then they booked in right here, and then we spoke to them. Okay. So this is an example I just wanted to show you, because when you structure your content correctly on Instagram, these are the types of inbounds you can get. Literally just people like asking for time in your calendar. And in that case, if someone's super high intent, especially if you're not booking the amount of calls you want, if you're trying to get more calls booked in your calendar, I would just recommend booking them in. Okay. So this is just a fun example I wanted to include where it was just super obvious. That doesn't happen all the time though. So let's get into some more, realistic examples right here. So this one is an outbound. Okay. I love outbounds because I love just proving to people that they work. Everyone thinks you have to wait for inbound DMs. Outbound DMs are super powerful. Okay. So we say, hey name, thanks so much for following me. Just curious what made you follow, and is there anything I can help with? And they say, hey, our name, that's all good. I've been on the path for a few years, trying to find ways to elevate family and business, just looking for the 1%ers. Look like you have a good few on it all. Okay, so you can see this guy is already pretty warm because of our content, which again, you need to be focusing on content because it helps with this a lot. I'm glad my content resonates with you. So if you don't mind me asking, where are you currently based and what do you do for work? So immediately we're into the next step. You can see we're into the location occupation after we've established their motivation. And you can see right here, this person's quite high intent, long text message. We already have a lot of information about them, their family, and their business. So good flag so far. Then they say, yeah, just trying to pick up little points. I'm in this industry. Obviously, I blocked it out for privacy reasons. And this is my business. Cheers. So he's a business owner. He's based in a country we work with. So very good sign right away. We've ticked off a lot of green flags. So we continue the conversation. We say, that's a great way to learn. I'm just down in, this is also my client's country. What's the main goal you're looking to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months? Okay, so you can see following the principles to a T, and we're going to establish his goal right now. And you can see right here, super warm lead. Okay, I mean, I even pick on something you said in one of your reels that related to me. So again, he's talking about our reels. You have to structure your content correctly. I can't say it enough times because it will get people warm like this. And then he tells us our goals. Goals is to move into a new workshop, improve finances. I want to have all my systems in place. Okay. New team leader, few things. Okay. So you can see, this is what I was talking about earlier in the green flag system. You can see this guy's a business owner. He's got plans to do renovation. He's got plans to do a new workshop. He's got plans to put new systems in place to hire a new team leader. So obviously he's doing pretty well in life. He's thinking about renovation. He's thinking about team leaders. He's trying to upscale a business that's already successful. Okay. So this is the type of information you can get when you have good content and you just reach out to people and you act casual. Okay. Instead of just, posting nothing and then asking them one word or questions like, what's your revenue? What do you want to be doing? Okay. Keep it open-ended and post good content, and people will literally just tell you everything you need to know. Okay. So that's a great example of what I was talking about earlier. Those are great goals. Giving yourself less and executing at a higher level is the most simple yet powerful way to build discipline. Have you considered working with a coach to achieve your goals? Okay, so this is a question we used to ask to outbound DMs to gauge their level of intent. We don't really do this anymore, okay, just because we found that it causes some sales resistance. But if you're at a place where you're booking a lot of sales calls and you're noticing that a lot of them are not qualified, then you can start adding in more friction like this, which is why we did it. But if you're just starting out or you're not getting the amount of volume of calls you need, then don't add in any friction. Okay, so don't ask this question, just go straight to the pain. But we did it, okay? I've definitely thought about it. A lot of successful people say they have a mentor. What is it you guys actually do? Okay. And then we just tell them what we do. And we say, would you like to schedule a quick call? Okay, cool. I am definitely keen to have a chat. Here's our calendar. Awesome. Okay. And I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure this client actually closed as well, which was nice. So this is an example of an outbound DM right here, which is nice to see. All right, let's get into the next conversation right here. So this person is an inbound, and they actually replied to one of our ads. So again, you need to have ads in place, you need to have traffic in place. It helps a lot with inbounds. So they say, hey, where can I find a mentor? So obviously quite a high intent lead. And this is just a picture of the ad. So they're just replying to the ad right here. It says, I'm happy to see how I can help. If you don't mind me asking, where are you currently based? What do you do for work? Again, just hitting the process. Thank you. I'm in this country, which is a tier 1 country we work with. And I'm a health and safety manager nationally in a big company. So obviously someone we can work with. Oh, beautiful. I have a lot of family that lives there. Okay. So again, this is just a really quick example of how you can build rapport without taking too much time up. Okay. So if someone says, I live here, and you know people that live there, or you used to live there, or you've done business there before, that's a way to just build some really quick rapport, especially if it's a country that people like don't know about that much. We've had people that live on like a small island off the coast of Greece, and my client has actually like lived there, or he's worked with clients from there. And when we say that line in the DMs, we're like, oh yeah, I actually know people. We've worked with people from there. They're like, oh my God, I never even knew anyone knew my country. Okay. So that's cool. If you can relate to where they live, their location, put it in. And then we ask them right away, what's the main goals you're looking to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months? I'm looking to settle my mind, return to my former self. I only want my old self back, nothing else. Cool. I can definitely help with that. Would you like to schedule a quick call? I can tomorrow. Okay, so you can see this person told us their goal and their pain point in one chunk right here in 2 texts. So we didn't ask them, what are you struggling with, or what do you think's holding you back from achieving that goal? Because they basically already told us. Okay, so here we just say, schedule a call. I can tomorrow. Okay. And I just wanted to include this as well, just to show you that this is totally normal. Not everything goes like directly to plan in your DMs, and you have to be okay with that. For example, this person right here, they'd been hacked before by a link. So when we sent them the calendar link, they were really hesitant to book in right away. They actually, I think they ghosted us first, and then we followed up. And a lot of people would get discouraged if they get to the calendar sent stage and then the person doesn't book in. They'd just be like, oh, that person obviously doesn't want to actually buy my product or talk to me. But that's not over the case. That's not always the case. With DMs, with sales in general, you want to always just assume the best, even if it's a little bit delusional, because you're going to catch a few extra people when you think that way. So for example, this lady didn't book in, but we followed up with her and we're just like, hey, did you find any times that worked in our calendar? And she's like, oh, I've actually been hacked by a link before. So can we just verbally agree tomorrow or Wednesday? So she didn't want to click the link because she'd been hacked, right? And so we just said, okay, that's all good. I understand. My first available appointment is here. Oh, great. Okay, here's my email. And we just added her in manually. And then she actually showed up on the call and we took it. Okay, we didn't close this deal, but it was a call taken that we would not have got if we didn't follow up and just see what was going on. Okay, so just wanted to include this because it's very important. A lot of people will go and try and use this script and they'll encounter little roadblocks or little things that come up randomly and they'll think, oh, this isn't working. People aren't booking in. It's because you have to have an open mind and you have to realize people are human. You're speaking with humans. They might have been hacked before. They might not know how to work tech if they're like 50 years old. So be friendly, follow up with people, ask what's going on, and just assume the best case scenario and you'll get a lot more calls. Okay, so just a quick example there. And then another example here. This is a great conversation. So, hey, thanks so much for following me. Just curious what made you follow, and is there anything I can help with? Hey, our name. You're welcome. The reason I followed you is because you have a great story. Okay, so again, you need to have your content on point because then people will be like, I actually like this person. And he feels like us at the start of his career. So this person actually works a similar job to what my client used to work as before he became successful, started his own business, et cetera, et cetera. So this person obviously relates to the client, which is nice. Feeling mentally drained and tired working XYZ. Okay, want to grow my business. So he says he's a business owner, which is perfect. Exactly who we can help. And then Obviously, you can see he's very high intent because we didn't even respond to these 2 messages. I think he sent them, and then it was like a couple of hours later, he saw one of our stories, and then he became an inbound again, and he responded to our story with the keyword training right here. Okay, and then actually one of our one of our automations fired again and just sent him the calendar link. But you can see it all flows together. When you have your content structured nicely and your personal brand structured nicely, you can hit someone with an outbound message. They'll give you all the information about their life. And then like 2 hours later, they'll hit you up with an inbound DM from your story. And then they'll watch your free training. And then you got their email. And then you can continue the conversation. It's a beautiful web when you have a personal brand with inbound leads. Okay. So then he says, thank you. I've looked into other ways to make income. Still don't know what to do. I'll watch the video and get back to you. And then we say, oh, I've been there doing XYZ. My client was also in the same line of work that this person was in before he became successful with his own business. What trade are you in? And if you don't mind me asking, where are you currently based? So this person's in pest control and they're based here. I've blocked out the country for obvious reasons. Beautiful. I'm down in another part of the same country. What goals are you looking to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months? Nice, cool, expand, great goals. What's holding you back? Time management. And really common, schedule a call. Awesome. Got them booked in. Okay. So that is an example of how easy this process can be. Okay. Motivation, location, occupation, goal, pain, offer call, send calendar. That's it. Okay. And yeah, so those are some live examples. Again, I'm going to show you at the end of this video how you can actually get this document for free so you can just read these yourselves. All right, so let's get into the bonuses. And these bonuses are a few pro tips that I guarantee you won't find anywhere else online. So we've got about 6 or 7 bonus points in here. And if you cover all these bonus points correctly, it'll make this entire process work 100 times better. When you implement these bonuses, it's going to be like putting the setting process on steroids. I guarantee it, okay? So let's get into these bonuses. All right, so bonus number 1 is the branching off doc. And this is a simple Google Doc where you store common questions and answers to them. Okay, so I recommend, even if you're just starting out, you do this right away, because this will save time for you. But most importantly, having this document will literally save your life when you try to scale your business. Okay, when you need to hire a setting team to take over your DMs, this will save you weeks of onboarding and training. So even if you're just starting out, believe in yourself and build this now. Okay, so here are a few examples of the questions we answered in our doc for this client is, how did you get into coaching / your service? What is the price? What is the program? How can I trust you for people who are skeptical? What were you doing before coaching / service providing? So we have a document with more questions than this. There's actually like 10 or 12 questions of common questions that we always get in our DMs. And then we formulated what we found to be the best answer to these so we can just copy and paste it when people ask the same questions, okay? So I recommend you start doing that. If you start noticing common questions that people are asking you in your DMs, keep them in a document somewhere and just keep your favorite answers to them listed. So that way you can just, say the same thing to multiple people and save you time, all right? And just as a quick point here, if someone asks what the price is, 99% of the time, don't tell them in the DMs. You can just say something like, we actually have multiple, that depends, John. We actually have multiple price points at multiple different stages depending on, where you're at in your journey. We really like to personalize it to accommodate to everyone. It would be much easier to get in a quick call to understand your situation and see which would be best for you. Would you be open to scheduling a quick 20-minute call? Okay. That probably wasn't the best because it was off the top of my head, but you can make that shorter. And basically you just want to redirect it to saying like, we need to get in a call first. Because if you sell a $10,000 program and you try to tell people that upfront in the DMs without having a proper discovery process and framing it to show them that it's actually going to work for them and understanding them, they're just going to ghost you. Okay, so just get them on a call. Secondly, if you're putting a team in place, so if you're hiring a setting team, I recommend you have a doc of facts about you that can be referenced in the conversation. So places you lived, where you grew up, your entire career timeline from childhood to now, and your life story, okay? And that way, when the setting team is replying to people and people say, oh, I lived in England or I lived in the US, whatever, if someone says I live here, then they can reply back with a little bit of rapport building and be like, oh, I actually grew up in the US since the age of 6, or I used to compete in chess in Minnesota when I was 8, okay? That way your team can actually know about you and just sound like you, okay? So that's important if you are dealing with setters, okay? But I recommend you do this anyway, just to have this for future scale. Second thing is the improvement sheet. Okay. So if you make changes or try anything different in this script, which I recommend you do, I recommend you always customize this and try it because every niche is different. We recommend that you keep a simple Google Sheet to keep a note of these changes. So this is our template. And again, when I tell you how to get this entire document, you'll be able to just steal this sheet as well, which is nice. So this is our template that we use when we make decisions or make changes to processes for client accounts. So first, we define the puzzle. So here, you define the problem you're facing. So for example, if you are having a problem in your setting process, and you can say, our booking rate is really low. We sent 50 calendar links this week, but only got 5 booked calls. Okay, so that's obviously a problem. You should be getting in more booked calls. Just an example of a problem you might face. Here in the ideas section, you list the possible ideas to solve it. So, and I recommend you list them from easiest to implement to hardest to implement first, which I'll get into why. Okay. So for example, let's say you're facing this problem. You're sending a lot of calendar links to people you're having conversations with, but you've only got 5 calls booked. So the ideas you might list are, okay, maybe we could try a different calendar software because the one we use is slow. Maybe we could take out questions on the form to reduce friction. We could try this, we could try this, we could try this, okay? And these are the ideas that you can use to then improve it. And we recommend that you start with implementing the easiest one first. For example, switch calendar software or take a question on the form before you try to improve the hard stuff like improve lead quality, because you can test these ones really quick and know if it's going to work in like 2 weeks versus this one will probably take 3 to 6 months to improve the lead quality if you have to change your messaging or change an ad campaign. And if you discover in the end that this was really the problem, then you're literally going to want to kick yourself in the face for not testing this one first. Okay. So that's why we recommend you start with the easiest first. Then you put in here the idea that you're currently testing, the start date that you tested it on, and the statistic that it started with. So for example, my booking rate is only 10%. I started this new change on this date. And then you put in an end date. So maybe you're running the test for 30 days. We're going to test this new part of the script, or we're going to change the calendar software and see if it improves the stat for 30 days. And then you put in the stat at the end of the 30 days. Okay. And here's just an overview of the problem. So the current stat, where you want the stat to be. So maybe you want your booking rate to be 80%. And then you just put in the status. So if you're currently just testing all these ideas, you put in testing. If you haven't started it, put in not starting. And if you found a solution that works, you put in solved, and then you put it in the solution category here. And if you've gone through a bunch of tests and none of them have worked, so you're on like idea number 4, you put in all the failed ones in here. Okay. This might seem like overkill at the start, but I guarantee you it's going to help you with your decision-making process, because this way you can always keep track of changes that were made and what was the intention behind them. Now you can actually see if the changes you make to this script or any process in your business have the desired effect that you want. So this might seem small, but if you just rely on memory to keep track of all the updates, you'll end up running in circles, just chopping, changing, not remembering why you did this thing. What's even the goal with this? So we found this to be really helpful, and I recommend you use it too. So that's the second bonus. Okay. Now let's get into the follow-ups. Okay. So we send 2 to 3 follow-ups if a lead doesn't respond. If they're an inbound lead or a highly engaged outbound lead, we send 3 follow-ups. Okay. So if they're inbound or highly engaged, if they're an outbound lead and they're not that engaged. So for example, the way we categorize engagement with outbound leads is if we haven't got to the question about the goal or the pain point yet, that means they're not really that interested. So we'll just send 2 follow-ups to them. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And here's the exact follow-up script we use. Okay, so these are simple templates. We always recommend to make it custom to the conversation. Okay, so as with everything I give you in this video, I give you the scripts, I give you the templates. I'm always going to heavily recommend that you take the time to customize them to your language and your ideal client. Okay, I cannot say that enough. So here is the literal word-for-word follow-up script. So follow-up number 1 is, we'll say, just following up on this, just touching base on this, just dropping a follow-up, just want to follow up on this, curious about this. So we'll just use one of these just as a really simple follow-up one to bump it back up in their inbox if they haven't replied to us, okay? A lot of people overthink follow-ups. It just has to be simple, and it's really about volume, okay? So just make sure you're following up with everyone. keeping in touch, bumping it up in their inbox. Instagram DMs can get busy, okay? So that's the follow-up one if it's a regular message. So if it's just a regular message in the conversation. This is the follow-up number one that we send if it's a comment reply. So if someone reaches out to us and they ask for the free training, or they get an automated comment response because they commented a keyword and we send them the training, the follow-up we say is, hey, name, just wanted to follow up on this. What had you interested in checking out the free training? Okay, so we'll repeat the question that we want them to answer in the follow-up to make sure that they actually stay on track. And then this is the follow-up number one if we send them the calendar message. So we use this follow-up if someone hasn't booked a call with us, but we've sent them the calendar. So we say, hey, Josh, just wanted to check in and see if you found any times that worked for you. Okay, so as you can see, we're just making these, follow-ups contextual to where they're at in the conversation. All right, and this is the follow-up two. So if someone doesn't respond to the follow-up number one, we will send them a follow-up number two. And we'll say, hey, name, completely understand you're busy, just wanted to follow up on this. As you can see, super simple. We don't overthink it. And then follow-up two for calendar messages. Hey, name, completely understand you're busy. However, I just wanted to reach out and see if you find any times that work for you. Okay, so just repeating the same thing. And then follow-up number three to highly engaged leads or to inbounds. We actually do a little sneaky trick that we found works well, is before we send the follow-up three, we'll actually go onto the Instagram app and we'll unsend the follow-up one message, okay? So you don't have to do this, but it's a little trick we found that can work well, is obviously you don't want to come across as too pushy or too salesy in the DMs, right? And a lot of people don't even do follow-ups in their DMs if they're all about inbound or outbound, and you can play with the volume depending on your personal brand, okay? If your content gets a lot of trust and engagement and you've got a large following already, then you probably don't need to do that many follow-ups, okay? Because it's more organic and you want to maintain that brand reputation. But if you are going to do some follow-ups like we do quite a lot, then we don't want to come across as too pushy. So we actually just unsend the first follow-up message. You can do that in Instagram, just hit this button and then it won't appear for them. So then when they open up the next follow-up, it'll look like we've only sent 2 follow-ups. Okay, so just a small detail. And then for follow-up 3, it's just the same as follow-up 1. Okay, just bumping it back up. And it's different if it's a calendar message. So we'll say, hey, name, just wanted to check in to see if you're still interested in booking that call. Either way is fine. Can you just let me know? Okay, so we're just hitting them one more time. Just give us a yes or no. Are you actually going to book the call? If no, it's fine. Okay, at that stage, we just want to, actually know if we're wasting our time or not. And the last thing we do that we found works really well is we'll send a reconnect message. So we keep a list of contacts that we haven't spoken to in a while in our DMs, so 30 days plus. And every Friday, so once a week, it can be any day, we'll check through the list to send a reconnect message. So we'll just say, hey, name, just dropping a message to reconnect. How's everything been since we last spoke? Okay, so if someone's high intent, we followed up with them like twice and, we asked them what their goal was and they still haven't told us, then, 30 days later, we'll just drop them a message, try to reconnect, try to rekindle the conversation. And we found this can actually book some extra calls. In terms of the timing, we send follow-ups Monday to Saturday. We have a virtual assistant that sends all the follow-ups and we leave a 2-day gap between each follow-up. Okay. So if we message them, if we, ask them a question on Monday, then we'll send the follow-up on Wednesday. And then if they don't respond to that, we'll send the next one on Friday. Okay. And then the next one will be sent out on Monday because we do it like Monday to Saturday. And we found this keeps it a little bit more organic. So we're not messaging people on Sundays and it just helps. Okay. Now, an important note is this is what has worked for us on Instagram with a B2C offer. Make sure you customize it for your offer niche and platform. All right, bonus number 4 is skipping questions. So obviously with conversations, there's humans involved. So things might go off script. And there's a rule we have, which is we can skip questions, but we can never skip stages. So let me give you an example. This person right here DM'd us a keyword. We said, what's your motivation? And they said, I want to make $2 million a year. So this contact has just told us their goal at the same time as telling us their motivation. They said they want to earn $2 million, very specific. So we don't need to ask them, what's your goal? Okay, we've already ticked that stage off. So the first thing we do is we ask them, where are you based? What do you do for work? Canada security. Beautiful. I lived in Canada. What do you feel is the biggest thing holding you back? Okay, so just a very small example here. You can see we skipped the goal question and just went right into the pain question because we already knew their goal. So you can do that too. You can skip questions in the script that I give you. Just don't skip stages. You have to get every stage correct. Now, bonus number 5, and this is one of my personal favorites that I've never seen anyone talk about before, how to deal with unqualified leads, okay? With everything you're trying to accomplish, which is build your personal brand and build your business at the same time, brand integrity, i.e. your reputation, is the most important asset. And that filters down to even the smallest of details, such as how do you deal with prospects that aren't qualified, if they're in a bad country, if they're not a good fit. You want a repeatable process that politely ends the conversation with these leads to save you time and maintain your brand image. So the way that we actually did this, and this was an idea that my client had, but I'm stealing it because it's really, really good. We came up with a system and created a free 30-day challenge video. And when we tag someone as not qualified in our CRM, which just means we add a tag, it automatically sends them a message that says this: hey, name, I created a free 30-day challenge that will help you to achieve X, whatever your niche is. Follow it for the next 30 days. And then we link them the YouTube video. It's like an unlisted YouTube video, so only people who have that specific link can see it. Hope you find value in it, and I appreciate you following my page. Okay, so this is cool because this is just a message you can copy and paste, or you can set it up as an automated message if you have a CRM. And this allows you to automatically just end the conversation with unqualified people while also, giving them some value and maintaining your brand image. So this video, the actual process of the video, it's around 20 minutes long. It walks them through the steps inside the coaching program. It gives genuine value. It shows client results, and it walks them through who we are. So it's like a mini VSL type of thing. And at the end of the video, we let them know that if they want personal help to apply the principles that they just watched, here's our coaching program. We tell them the price, we tell them what they receive, we tell them we offer payment plans, and if that they're serious, that they can DM us this keyword on Instagram to apply. Okay. Now, obviously, normally we don't tell the price early. Okay. We never reveal the sales price before the call. But in this case, we already consider this person unqualified. We're not going to continue the conversation with them. So this is just a last ditch, almost like Hail Mary attempt that, hey, if someone actually is willing to pay this price, then they can just DM us this keyword and we'll get on a call with them only if they're serious and only if they DM'd us this keyword. So it's a way to potentially get extra sales on the back end without us doing any work on the front end. Okay, so it's really nice. So it maintains brand image and it can catch us a few extra sales in the back end. And as you can see here, we've sent this particular video to end conversations with close to 4,000 people. So you can just imagine how much time this has saved us. You can see this is the video on YouTube. It's got nearly 4,000 views. So if we had tried to have like a custom process for 4,000 or 5,000 people to end the conversation, it would have taken a long time. All right, getting into the last 3 bonuses here. 6 is a human touch. So as I mentioned before, everyone is on the lookout for AI and automations. We literally get messages every single day that people ask, is this really you? Am I speaking to AI? So anything you or your team can do to come across as more human, do it. For example, send voice notes, send pictures, use non-perfect language as if you're just typing on your phone, okay? This really helps. Number 7 is calendar questions. So what do you actually say on the calendar when you send it to people? Okay, what should you have on that calendar page? Well, first thing is the calendar software. I recommend Calendly. I have tested a lot of different calendar softwares, Go High Level, Acuity Scheduler, and Calendly is by far the best. It's the smoothest on all platforms, and we notice a big uptick in booking rate when we use Calendly compared to others. And how you structure your calendar questions depends on your niche and obviously sales cycle. So if you're B2C, if you're B2B, are you getting a lot or a little info already in the conversation? Are you getting a high volume of calls already? All these things will determine, how much friction you actually put on that calendar page, how many questions you have. But in general, there's 4 things that you want to consider getting. 1 is basic information. 2 is customer data. 3 is logical qualifying information. And 4 is the level of intent questions. Okay, so let's cover each of these. 1 is basic info. So this is the info we actually need to make the meeting happen. So for example, the name, last name, email, and what type of phone call they would like. We include the phone call question because, as I said, our average customer is 40 and 50% of our sales come from sales over the phone as opposed to Zoom. But if your target market is younger, you can probably just stick to Zoom. Okay, so every calendar needs this, the basic info. The second thing we put in our calendar is customer data. So we ask these questions to get data on our leads so we can build a better ideal avatar on the back end. So we say, what country are you from? What is your age? What is your current occupation? And this also allows us to cancel unqualified calls really easily. So if someone books in and they're from a country we don't work with, we just immediately cancel it. Or if they say here their occupation is something we don't help, then we'll just cancel it. Okay. So this is a nice bit of information we can use to keep the call, cancel the call. And then if you have a spreadsheet with all this information in the back end, you can build out a really nice customer profile and see who's booking calls with us. How can we improve who we book calls with? Third thing is logistical qualifying information. So this is the information if the prospect is qualified. Okay, so this gives you a chance to cancel unqualified calls or screen people further. And it also is a great statistic to improve over time. So for example, right here, we asked someone, what is the main goal you hope to achieve in the next 12 months? And what is your current annual income in USD? So we asked this because obviously our program's high ticket. We work with certain people. So if someone answers less than $40,000 a year in this particular offer, we'll reach out to them after they've booked and we'll screen them a little bit further. We'll maybe say, what's your goals? What are you currently earning? And we'll decide if we want to keep the call. And we ask this one to discover just their main goal, okay? And the last thing we do is the level of intent questions. So these are really nice because it makes sure that only serious people book in, and it will also increase your show up rate and close rate massively. I recommend you always have at least one, maybe two of these on your calendar, okay? Especially if you're already booking calls and you want to get those qualified leads in. So here we ask, every day we have X amount of people book in. It's important you respect our time. Can you confirm you'll show up at the time? Yes, I've double checked my calendar. If we give you all the information you need, can you get started right away? Yes. And then on the next page, there's one video we want you to watch. Can you watch it? Yes. Okay. So we're letting them know what's going to happen after they book the call. And we're getting them to confirm they're going to show up. And we're getting them to confirm that they're ready to get started right away. So, once someone books in and they click yes to all these questions, it's, a really, really easy discovery call. So you want to set yourself up to win. Now, here's a very, very important note on all these questions and on friction in general. If you're just starting out and you have a low volume of calls, e.g., you want a lot more calls, go with as few of these questions as possible. Okay, so if you are not getting the calls you want, start with zero friction. Just remove all these and keep it simple. What's your name? What do you want to do? What's your email? Book in. Okay, just get calls on your calendar. But if you're getting too many unqualified leads to manage, which we had a problem with before, we started adding in friction to make sure we're getting the right people showing up on calls. Okay, so you want to play with friction depending on the level of your business. Okay. Next is include as many multi-choice questions as possible. Okay, so for example, these ones right here, where they can just tick a box or tick a button. Oh, if you can make your entire calendar page just ticking box questions, then do it, because it saves a lot of people time. And if someone's trying to book a call when they're just getting in their car, at 9 a.m. and they have to answer all these complex questions, they're probably not going to do it. Okay, so you want to have as many multi-choice options as possible. Make it easy for people. All right, and the last bonus here is post-booking. So what do you actually do after someone books a call to make sure they show up ready for the call? Now, I'm not going to cover this in depth in this video because that would just make this video like 3 hours long. I'll do a separate video on it, but I want to touch on it because it's very important. There's nothing worse than doing a ton of work upfront and then booking a call just to sit alone on Zoom because it's another no-show, okay? So in about 90 seconds here, I'll give you an overview of the post-booking process we use that gets an 88% show-up rate. So you can see right here, last quarter, our no-show rate was under 13%, which is pretty incredible. And there's 4 elements you need for a good post-booking process: confirmation page, a final step to confirm their appointment, a pre-call video, and pre-call reminders. Okay, so the first one is a confirmation page. This is a page they're redirected to immediately after booking in with you. Okay, so they book in a call on your calendar and then they're redirected to this page. At the top of this page, it should have a video, so a really quick video that explains the steps for them to confirm their appointment, which is this one right here. I'll explain what that is. The call rules, so any rules you have for the call, such as show up in a quiet environment, make sure you're not driving, make sure you show up ready with a notepad. And then the third thing it should include is any information they'll need pre-call, okay, so about you or your company. And then the middle of the page, so below the video on the page, you'll have the steps to confirm their appointment, which I'll get into in a moment. And then the bottom of the page, it should be filled with client testimonials. So people you've helped before, just to get that social proof before the call. So the second step here, which I've referenced here, is the steps to confirm their appointment. So you want to have an extra step that someone has to do immediately after their booking to confirm their appointment. This will double your show rate if you don't already have this. I guarantee it, okay? So here's how we do this. The first thing we do is we send them 2 emails automated. So when they book in a call with us, they get redirected here. And then we send them an invitation email. So this invitation email has the Google Calendar link and the meeting details. So it'll have the Zoom link or the phone number if they selected phone call. And we ask them to add the meeting to their calendar. So they just click this yes button down here. At the same time, we also send them a really simple confirmation email. And this is an email with a big blue button, and they have to press this to confirm their appointment. So it's really simple. And this is actually Calendly automatically can set this up for you if you just hit a few buttons. So it says, hey, name, just confirm your appointment, click this. And we let them know in this video at the top of the page, hey, go do this right now to confirm your appointment. And when they do this, it'll actually show up as a confirmed appointment on our calendar, which is really nice. And we found that people who confirm show up. They really, really show up. So this is an extra step that we do, and it helps a lot. Third is a pre-call video. So you need a pre-call video that every prospect watches before the call. This is the most important step of the process because you want the prospect showing up pre-nurtured and ready to buy. So if someone books a call, maybe directly from a link they found of like an old case study or from an email, and they don't really know that much about you or your company, you need to make sure they have a quick video they can watch before the call. That way, you won't be spending 50% of the call explaining your offer, who you are, why you're different. That'll be in the video they watch. So you can actually have this video on the page. So it can be this video right here. It can be like 10, 15 minutes long or shorter. Or what we do is we just send them the video in the email, the text, and the DM reminders they get pre-call. So when they book a call with this client, they get redirected to this page where it's like a quick 3 to 5 minute video that explains the call rules, steps to confirm their appointment. And we let them know, hey, we're going to be sending you this pre-call video via email, Instagram, SMS. Just make sure you click that link and watch it before the call. And we found that people, watch it. They'll click the link, they'll watch it, and it makes the sales calls a lot easier. Okay. And then in terms of the reminder, this is the exact workflow we use to get an 88% show up rate. So immediately they get sent the invitation email, confirmation SMS, and this SMS just says, hey, thanks for booking the call. Make sure you watch this video before the call. Confirmation DM, we send them a message. Then we send them an email, SMS, 24-hour pre-call, 4-hour pre-call, 1-hour pre-call, 15-minute pre-call, okay? And we also get our VA to send them a casual DM on the morning of the call. Just say, hey, excited for the meeting, looking forward to it, okay? And this is how we get a really good show-up rate because we do all this. All right, so that's it. That is exactly, almost scientifically, how we booked 538 calls and generated $375,000 from Instagram for one client on a brand new offer. All right, now there's 2 very important things you need to know. And if you don't understand point number 2 that I'm going to share with you right now, then quite frankly, none of this will work. So everything I've just showed you, it's detailed, but none of it will work unless you understand point 2. So let me get into that right now, okay? The first thing is, point number 1, get this full doc. So this video took a couple of hours to put together, and this entire process that I just showed you, all the details, all the scripts, took about a year of refining to get to this point. But you can get this entire document completely for free, no email sign up. Just shoot me a DM on Instagram. This is my username. This is my profile, @BenMelly. I'll put the link somewhere to my profile in the description of this video. DM me the word appointments, and I'll share this entire document with you completely for free. Okay, so just DM me that. Now, the second point, which is the most important point, and you need to know this to make the entire process work. It will not work without this. Even though this training is extremely detailed and you can go implement this now to see some results, this is still less than 1% of what you actually need to consistently grow your business, grow your personal brand, and get more qualified booked calls. It's less than 1%. Appointment setting is a tiny part of growing and monetizing your personal brand. It's a cog in a much larger machine, and I would be doing you a massive disservice if I did not tell you this, because none of this will work unless you have these points as well, okay? So none of this process will work unless you have the following points in place as well. And this is the most important part of this training. One is you need a proven offer. This is the foundation to everything. You can spend 100K a day on ads, 25 viral videos. You can speak to 20,000 leads, take 5,000 sales calls. But if you're trying to sell a jar of sand to someone who lives in the Sahara Desert, you're not going to be doing much business. So when you get your offer and your messaging right to a place where you're charging high ticket, you've got a great product market fit. You'll know this when sales calls flow and feel easy, and you genuinely solve deep pain in your market, then everything else will take care of itself. I promise you, the setting will take care of itself once you have a great offer. So that's the number one foundation you need. The second thing you need is the ability to generate attention. So you need a system to consistently get new cold traffic to know about you and what you do. You need new people knowing about you and your offer. And this can be organic, it can be paid, it can be a combination of both, but you need a consistent system. 3 is you need the ability to nurture attention. So getting cold traffic, generating it here is a start, but it's not enough in today's market where buyers are very aware. People have been marketed to for years. The days where you can just run a Facebook ad to a webinar and get booked calls for $50, they're not there anymore. You need a system that consistently nurtures the attention you're getting, turning cold traffic into warm traffic. Because people decide whether they're going to work with you long before a sales call, long before it, okay? So you need to generate attention, nurture attention. Step 4 is you need to funnel attention. So once you've warmed up prospects, you need a system that consistently creates opportunities for prospects to take that next step to learn more about you and your offer or work with you. So these are strategically placed CTAs within this funnel to get them to reach out, okay? That's number 4. Number 5 is you need the ability to convert attention. Once you have warm prospects taking that next step to learn more, you need a system to consistently convert this attention to qualified booked calls on your calendar. And this is where appointment setting, everything I've just showed you here, only plays a small role in step number 5. Okay? Appointment setting, everything I've showed you plays a partial role here. If you don't have the other steps in place first, it is absolutely pointless. And step 6 is you need the ability to close attention. So once you have warm, qualified prospects booked in, you need a system to consistently get them to show up, close the deal, and follow up. Okay, so I gave you a little bit of that process in here earlier with the bonuses. And step 7 is you need to scale this process. So once you have this entire map flowing, you need a system to consistently track every number inside of it so you can find bottlenecks, find opportunities, and make informed decisions to scale. And once you have these 7 elements in place, offer, generate, nurture, funnel, convert, close, scale. Once you have all these 7 elements in place, the actual appointment setting becomes extremely easy. For example, here's an outbound DM we sent to someone on this account. It says, "Hey name, thanks so much for following. Just curious what made you follow and is there anything I can help with?" They say, "Well, I decided to follow you based on the video where you explained your life change when you met the mentor I talked about earlier. I met him this year through an audiobook called This." And then we asked this person, we took them through the process. We said, "Hey, want to hop on a quick call?" He says, "Sure, Zoom." And then we closed them for 9,000 US. Okay. And this all started because they saw a video, our organic content, where he knew a person that we knew and he liked our story and he liked the fact that we knew this mentor. And this is how warm you can get people when you have a system to generate and nurture the attention. So again, just another example of a message we got on the account here. "Hey, thanks so much for following me. What made you follow?" "You inspired me." This is an example of messages that we get every single day of people coming through who follow us. "I can relate to you because I also work in the same industry that this client used to work in." Again, so he knows his story already. "I like watching positive people do positive things." Another person right here. "It was a reel you created, a photo of you and the person that we know. It's very inspiring to me, the way you do things." Okay, so this is the power of having a system that generates, nurtures, and converts attention for you 24/7. And when you structure your personal brand on Instagram correctly, it becomes an automated machine that does all these steps for you and spits out qualified booked calls 24/7. And just to show you a quick visual representation here of what that would actually look like, how you can structure your personal brand to build a beautiful system that generates, nurtures, and books all the attention for you, this is what that would actually look like. Okay, so the foundation up here is you always start with a proven offer. You need a validated offer that's good, that's got a good market fit. The second thing you need in place is tracking. Okay, so the ability to track all these numbers inside here so you can find what works and find what you can scale. Okay, so you need these two things as the foundation, right? Proven offer and tracking. They're a given. Now, with your personal brand on Instagram, how do we actually generate the attention? Well, there's two things we do. One is paid ads, okay? And we do different forms of paid ads, which I'll get into later, but paid ads is number one, getting new and cold attention who've never heard about you before to see your profile. And number two is organic content. When you structure your organic content correctly, you can go viral, reach new people, while also nurturing people at the same time. It's a beautiful thing, okay? So that's how you generate attention. Second thing is nurture attention. So once people are coming to your profile and following you, how do you actually nurture them? How do you warm them up? Well, number one is organic content, okay? So structuring your reels, structuring your threads correctly so people learn more about you, your personal values, your story. That nurtures people. Number two, stories. This is a big one. Sharing your day-to-day life on your story, sharing your personal values and opinions on your story, keeping it casual. That's how you nurture attention. And then number three is long-form trainings. So occasionally you can create long-form trainings where people get to learn more about your thought process, more about the systems you use to nurture them further. Just like this long-form training that you're watching right here. This is an excellent example of nurturing attention and getting you to understand the thought process that I have too. And then funnel attention. So how do we actually funnel this attention once it's nurtured? We use strategically placed CTAs in content. So CTAs on our story, CTAs at the end of our reels. These can be comment CTAs, direct CTAs. These can be free training CTAs. And then convert the attention. So how do we actually convert the attention? This is where setting comes into play. So setting plays a role in this, where we'll actually get people to DM us, and then we'll take them through the process, convert them to a booked call. Everything I just showed you here, that's where that plays in, okay? It's a small role in a much larger system. We also use a video sales letter funnel, okay? So a video sales letter just explaining who you are, what you do, the results you have, structured in the correct way to get people to book calls. Really powerful when you link it with a personal brand, okay? And you're driving traffic to it. And then close attention, the systems we use to get people to show up, close, and follow up, okay? You need all this structured correctly in your personal brand for this to work. And ultimately, when it comes down to it, growing and monetizing your personal brand is an exact science with every element carefully crafted to create a holistic system. And this holistic approach allows you to go from chasing to attracting your ideal client effortlessly. So if all that makes sense to you and you're thinking, wow, I really like this approach, it makes sense, and I needed these systems in my business yesterday, then I do have an offer for you. If you run a business that books calls to sell high-ticket services such as service provider, coach, consultant, infopreneur, and you want a consistent calendar full of qualified leads, a personal brand that positions you as an authority in your industry and attracts your ideal client, and you want to grow your impact while growing your business, and you want to do all the above without doing cringy TikTok dance videos, spending more than 1 hour a week creating content and managing your brand, or spending days setting up funnels just for it all to break, then my team and I will grow and monetize your personal brand completely done for you. And when I say done for you, I don't just mean we give you some pre-made templates and then stick you in a group with 500 people and host one group call a month. We actually come in as a partner to your business and do everything end to end for you. So here's really quickly what that would look like. Phase one is clarity. So we have a one-to-one roadmap call with you to find out where you're at, where you want to get to, and develop a crystal clear roadmap with KPIs to get you there. Phase two is offer. So most clients who come to work with us, they already have a validated offer, so a customer base with some data. But no matter what level you're at, we always look for any ways we can optimize the offer. So whether you've enrolled 10 people into your program or 10,000 people, we'll always do a quick one-to-one consult call and look at your pricing, your structure, your LTV, and see if we can maximize the value there. Then in phase three, we generate, nurture, and funnel attention for you. Okay, so all the steps that I just showed you in that funnel before, we do it for you. And we do this in 3 steps. Step 1 is messaging. So we do a deep dive into you and your story. We always get our clients to fill out a life story document and a personal values document. So that way we know about them, their personal values, and we can actually start to create content around that suits their personal brand and attracts the right people. The next thing we do with every client is set up a one-to-one consult call with our head of content where we craft your brand messaging, and this becomes the foundation of all the content we create together. Step 2, within generating, nurturing, and funneling the attention for you, is we build a custom niche research sheet. So we build a sheet of the top performing content in your niche, and we find the comment formats, topics, keywords, and hooks. Then we optimize your profile around this. So we look at your bio, your highlights, your pin videos. We do that for you. And step 3 within organic content is we write all the content for you every single month. So we script each video for you, then we create it, edit it, and upload all your content for you to your personal brand. And we focus on 4 key areas in the content we create for you. 1 is educating your audience. 2 is telling your story. 3 is sharing your personal values. And 4 is placing strategic CTAs to funnel these leads into the next step. So this not only grows your audience, for example, here we grew this client to 200 to 30K followers, but it also allows us to make sales directly from your organic content, which most people have no idea how to do, but we've mastered it. For example, right here, this one reel, it only got 85 likes, it got 32 comments, 30 saves, and in total, we only reached 4,800 people. So on the surface, you might seem like, oh, not a great reel. But since we had everything set up correctly, every single person who commented, we reached out to automatically. So all these comments are leads. And then of these leads, you can see right here, this person commented on the post. They watched our training. Then we followed up with the process of setting them, got them on a call, and we closed them for 9,000 US. Okay. So this one post with 80 likes, 30 comments, 4,800 views turned into a $9,000 sale. And this is what happens when you structure your organic content correctly. And the third step we do within generating, nurturing, and funneling this attention for you is we script, create, launch, and scale all your ads for you. So we test 2 types of campaigns for our clients to get the best results. One is meta ads. So these are just regular Facebook ads on Facebook and Instagram. We run cold ads to generate new followers and inbound DMs. And we also run warm ads to your existing audience to get consistent flow of DMs on the back end. So we actually set up retargeting campaigns and we launch story ads to every single person who's ever seen your account before. And these ads convert like crazy because they're warm and they already know who you are. The second form of advertising we do for our clients is Instagram shoutouts. And shoutouts have been by far the most profitable campaigns we run for our clients. And most business owners don't even know these exist, but it's an advertising strategy that gets new followers and leads that can be 5 to 10 times cheaper than meta ads when you do them correctly. And how we do this is we pay to place an ad on a large Instagram page in your niche. And this ad is a post that gives value, and then at the end has a CTA to follow your account and DM you. So we have partnerships with over 1,000 pages on Instagram across dozens of niches with millions of followers. Here's some of the results we got from these campaigns. So as you can see right here, I'll zoom in and you can download this document later and see it for yourself. We spent $1,850. We got 264 messages. Of that, we booked 17 qualified booked calls. We closed 3, which generated us $25,000 in revenue and $4,900 in cash collected from one shout out campaign. You can see right here, we did that on February 26th, spent it, collected the calls, and then collected the cash right here with 3 closes. Okay. So this is an example of how powerful these shout out campaigns can be. And phase 3 is we actually convert the attention for you. Okay. So we build and script your custom appointment setting process for you. We set up all the lead capture workflows for you, and you get access to our pre-trained setters and outbound VAs, which we manage for you if you're at that level where you want to hire a team. Step 2 within that is we build your VSL funnel. So we build out your custom VSL funnel. This is a video that people can watch that explains more about you, your offer, your results, and why they should actually work with you. So we script that video for you. We set up the funnel around it. And just for context, our VSL funnel for this client alone has generated over $120,000 of the revenue that I showed you. And calls that we book from the VSL directly have had a 33% close rate. Okay. It's insane because people who book from this source show up so pre-nurtured, so ready to buy that it's just the easiest discovery call you'll ever have in your life. Okay. So that's what happens when you structure that correctly. And phase 4 is sales. So we build out a custom sales pipeline for you. We build out a custom 30-day sales loss follow-up sequence. And we also build out your pre-call sequence to make sure your no-show rate is super, super low. Phase 5 is scaling. So you get access to all our custom tracking systems and CRMs, and we provide daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly reports so you always know what's going on with your personal brand and your business. And phase 6 is support. So when you onboard with us, we'll have weekly one-to-one calls to check in, And on top of that, we'll create a private Slack channel with me and my team, which you'll have 24/7 access to, and will always respond to you same day. So if you're interested to learn more about this, so you can get similar results to the one you saw today in 1/10 of the time it would take you to do it alone, you can click the top link in the description below this video and book in a free strategy call. Best case scenario with this call, your business is a good fit and we start working together right away as your partner to scale your brand up for you. Worst case scenario, it's not a good fit right now and we give you a fantastic consulting call showing you exactly what we would do to scale your business up currently. Plus, we'll send you the call recording so you can just watch back and implement what we tell you. And we'll also share any resources or templates I think could help you. Okay, so either way, this call is going to be a win-win for you. All right, and that's everything. So I really, really hope you enjoyed this video. It took a long time to put together, but I hope you got a lot of value out of it. And just as a recap, if you want this entire document for free, send me a DM on Instagram saying appointments, okay? DM me this word right here. I'll leave my Instagram linked in the profile below or somewhere in the description. And if you want us to come in and grow your brand completely done for you, then click the top link in the description, book a free discovery call today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to speaking with you. Peace.